Hi,
Hi.
another
Movie.
miracle time.
Mirror moons o'clock.
Yeah. Um, we do have a topic we do want to talk about today. And it's something that we discovered amongst Asian cultures. And if we
Mhm.
narrow it down, we're both Korean, so it's really common in the Korean culture as well too.
Yeah.
And do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, so it's about Noonchi,
Yeah.
which is a word that means, well, literally like noon means eyes, right? Noon. And
Mm-hmm.
then chi, do you know what chi means? Yeah. Well, anyway, Noonchi together means it's this kind of like sensing
Being
what's
mindful.
around you, being
Yeah.
mindful, kind of like when you say, "Oh God, that person has no nunchi," it's someone who isn't like attuned to what's going on
Mhm.
and just isn't mindful of other people. So
Exactly. Yeah.
having no nunchi is like a very, very bad thing.
Yeah, like
It's like
such a
you do not want to be someone
disrespectful.
who doesn't have nunchi. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
disrespectful,
Hmm.
not attuned. What's an example of not having nunchi? Like maybe there's like a meditation happening and someone just comes and like brings a tambourine,
Yeah.
like
Or a common thing is, let's say there's like a group of Asians in a room and a
yeah,
platter of fruit is served, right? And
okay,
it's
yeah,
placed
I
in the
like it.
middle. And let's say you're the one that's like, oh my God, I love all this fruit. And you're the only one like eating. You're not even mindful. You're just eating,
Eating it,
eating,
yes.
eating.
And
And
meanwhile, there's 10 other people who haven't
yeah,
had any of it. That is so no nunchi.
yeah. And like that would be considered so disrespectful and rude because you shouldn't be eating it all to yourself. But then
Yeah,
again, it's like
okay,
no one's going for it though. No one's going for it. Even
right,
though
right.
no one's going for it, um, you still have to be mindful and only take a few, but not eat the
Yeah,
whole thing, even if no one's touching it.
right.
Yeah.
So, you know what? I do see the positivity of nunchi. It's about, again, like the shadow and the positive of nunchi is
Mhm.
the
Of trying to
positive is,
take the
yeah,
other person.
you're aware that you're not living alone. You're with other people
Yeah.
and you are taking their,
Best interest or so, well,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
supposedly. Yeah.
So even if they're not eating it right now, maybe they'll want some later. So I'm not going to eat like just thinking about myself only.
Yeah. But then it does make sense if like no one's eating it and you
Yeah,
want it, then
yeah,
eat it. I mean, it's there to be
yeah.
eaten.
Uh-huh.
But in the Asian culture, it's like, no, 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 no. Like that's considered disrespectful. So the positivity is to restrict your desires of wanting to eat all of that or like everything that's on this platter
That's a positivity.
in the Asian culture.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
Hmm.
like in reality, it's not, but
Hmm.
it's considered positive. Yeah, which is
Yeah,
messed up because then like your mind is like, it's already programmed like, no, this is a positive thing. But then
yeah,
it doesn't feel good. I
yeah.
know logically I've been taught this is a positive thing, it's respect, it's showing sign of care and kindness and mindfulness, but I want it. I want to eat it.
And you know what? While we were talking about Noonchi and just being in
Yeah.
that situation where there's some delicious food, delicious fruit,
Yeah.
and you have some and like, but then no one's eating it but Noonchi. And
Yeah.
so how there is like a positive connection with inhibiting yourself. Like there's like this scrunching up in your belly of like, oh no, even though I want it, don't like stop yourself. And
Hmm.
there's like, that's what good is. There's a positive association with that being a good thing.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
like your hunger or your desire that's inhibited is a positive thing.
Exactly. And that happens like so like gradually on a subconscious level. You're programming yourself to inhibit your desires and to not go for it and seeing it as a positive thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
But in
Yeah.
reality, That's so not it. It's so not it.
Yeah.
It's negative.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that happens, growing up so much. That's just
Hmm.
baked into your system.
Yeah.
And also, I know for me, like in my family, the most non-Noonchi was my dad. And so just hearing my mom like come down on him like again and again with like, oh my God, you have no Noonchi. How could you say that in front of other people? How could you
Hmm.
eat that much and not leave some for other people?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
That was a very common thing.
So not being mindful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this fulfillment of like fully satisfying your like the manifestation wait, so fully satisfying yourself with uh like your desires being manifested
Mhm.
on a subconscious level, it's like, oh no. Like it 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 makes that person subconsciously feel like that's bad.
So bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's almost no template for it in my body growing up of what that is
Hmm.
because there was never a time where Nunchi was not present.
Yeah. And if this keeps like playing, not just in this example, but in other areas too, then it's also kind of saying like, um, oh, I lost it. Oh, it'll come back to me. I lost it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, yeah. Ah,
Yeah.
I had it. I lost it.
What? What was it?
I had a thought. I had this thought
Okay.
and I lost it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, Nunchi, Nunchi.
Yeah. Like something about manifesting all the time.
Mhm.
It gets bleeded into all areas of your life.
Yeah.
And another example, and I feel like it doesn't even have to be the Asian culture either.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
just a
Yeah, that
terminology for
yeah,
me, but this is everywhere, of
yeah.
course.
So basically the root energy of this exemplification is um um we were taught or like
Mhm.
it was shown that this is respectful or this is good. This is what you should do because this is what's considered um like good.
Mhm.
But then your feeling doesn't align with what's shown that is considered good.
Mm.
And I think that is the root of like what we're trying to talk about here today, right?
Okay, so say them. The feeling internally
Yeah.
is then like there's a mismatch happening. The
Yeah.
feeling internally, which is constriction
Hmm.
and repression,
Yeah.
withholding, is
Of your
like
desire.
of your desire is externally seen as a good thing. So
Yes, because
learn to equate like this is positive.
yes, to not go for it
Yeah, to not go for it.
because it is shown that you should do this. You should be like this. This is
Mhm.
what you're supposed to do.
Mhm.
And because this is considered good, and if you don't feel that, like if that doesn't match with your feeling state,
Mhm.
and that's what happens, exactly what you said, where
Mhm.
suppressing yourself feels like a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can suppress myself to fit in with what's shown
Mhm.
it of what I should be doing.
Mhm.
So then what happens in that phase is when the person keeps growing and like, does more of this and like experiences this in different areas of their life, it makes sense why that person would think, okay, the logical has more empowerment over their emotional personal truth.
Mm.
And so it's hard to like re-own more and more of the individual's like personal truth.
Mhm.
And so there's this confusion now as an adult eventually of like, God, but it just like I but no one's eating this like plate of fruit. Like no one's eating it.
Mhm.
But I know to be mindful of not to finish it, even though no one's eating it. But I really want it.
Mhm.
And then it's like that judgment. I don't want that. I don't want other people to think I have no noonchi or other
Mhm.
people to think I'm not mindful.
Mhm.
And so limiting yourself.
Mhm.
So then that has happened in so many other ways. Like if you go to church, even with religion, of like, if you learn God is a certain way, that's conditional.
Mhm.
Like, okay, um, if you are a good religious person, let's say, and you go to a church where they taught you,
Mhm.
like God only loves you if you're this. But
Mhm.
if you're not, you go to hell. So if
Mhm.
you are taught
Mhm.
that in your own
All
like
this that.
religion,
Mhm.
then you would basically listen to what you were taught. But then in your emotional state, it's like, oh, but I don't want to do that. Like, I that doesn't feel right to me on a personal truth level.
Mhm.
But then you override that. So it's like, oh, there's a lot of that in the Korean culture, but I can see how it's in many things,
Mhm.
even in
Mhm.
schools.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
Don't take too much. Don't want too much.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's one way, right? Now that we're talking about it,
Mhm.
like it's showing like, oh, then you're not allowing yourself to manifest fully what you desire
Mhm.
because it's considered negative, which is
Mhm.
not true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also about this Noonchi is first you learn what Noonchi is,
Yeah.
right? Through
Yeah.
example of what's happening around you in the family,
Yeah.
at the church,
Yeah.
everything, being in the world. And then there's a certain point where then you internalize the Noonchi.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh,
So yeah. So now you're like you have like surveillance, like Big Brother in your own self that's
yeah.
monitoring you,
Yeah. But
even if no one's around.
yeah. And let me know if this feels right to you, because I think like to represent how much Koreans are like this, embedded in this like, no, 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 you don't break that rule
Oh
whatsoever
yeah.
of like being mindful. You have to always be mindful of others, no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Even if you don't like it, or even if you don't want to. So, for instance, even that example of that plate of fruit, right? And let's say that person who desires to eat all of that because no one's touching it says, like, hey, is no one going to eat this? Is it okay if I eat it? Let's say, even if that person said it and everyone around them said, yeah, yeah, go ahead, eat it, right? But still, that's considered, no, no, no. Like, even if they okayed and you got permission to eat it, you still
You
shouldn't.
still shouldn't.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, yeah, we may say okay, but you still better not.
Oh my God, that is so, so true. Even if
Yeah.
it's being offered to you,
Hmm.
like there is something in there where if you have
Yeah.
nunchi, you would say no,
Yes,
because you shouldn't
exactly.
take that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, don't be a
So
burden.
the right thing to do is to decline,
Mhm,
politely
mhm.
decline.
And that's a positive. And
Yeah.
you should be patient and hold off your desire of wanting to
Uh-huh.
finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember like so many times, yeah, my dad,
Mm.
he would just, when he's like offered food and take
Yeah.
it, you know.
Yeah.
I guess he was more, I don't know what it was, maybe being male or like also just him not being, he didn't get so conditioned
Mm-hmm.
with Noonchi,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so yeah, like him just getting so scolded by
Oh,
my mom. Like, even if they offer it to you, you shouldn't take it.
yeah. Oh,
So a lot of that
yeah.
messaging.
It's a heavy generational
Yeah.
cultural
Uh-huh.
thing
Yeah.
that should be broken.
It's
Yeah.
like rude for you to accept something.
Yeah. And that's something that Asians can learn from Americans. Because
Mm.
Americans, like, they offer it one, like, you want it? Okay. It's like, all
It's,
right, here.
yeah, it's
If you don't
pretty.
want it? Okay, I'm not going to offer it then. And that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Mm,
So there's so many like layers of Noonchi.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, even if they say okay, you
Like no means yes, yes means
uh-huh.
to say yes, it really should be a
It's so
no.
screwed up. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. So was wondering, should we do an integration on this today? Like talk
Well,
into it further? How do you feel?
so I guess where this is interesting is how is Nunchi
Mhm.
playing out in our current day? And I was just giving you an example earlier of like um the Nunchi of when I'm around other people and why I feel like I can't fully relax.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like some part of me feels like I have to perform or be doing something
Yeah.
or sitting properly. It's just, and I'm watching that in myself
Yeah.
and just realizing, and then you kind of help me see, wow, you don't, even if it's your home, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel like it's your home.
Mm-hmm.
Because like your home is a place where you can, that's like your place where you just relax,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can't I realize I'm not relaxed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and just recalling even, growing up at home where I like when I'm tired and just feeling noonchi if I'm taking a nap, I just feel like someone's going to be judging me about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to kind of do it in private or pretend I'm not
Yeah.
sleeping,
Yeah.
So God, like all this
It's just
noonchi in
like
my body.
yeah. Doesn't it feel like a mind fuck a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets you to the state
So
of like,
not
what
feeling
should I
free.
do? I know I want this, but logically I shouldn't. Oh, but I feel
Yeah.
like I want to, but logically
Yeah,
I
like
shouldn't.
how much am
It's
I
very,
editing and modifying the natural ways my body wants to be
yeah,
when I feel like I'm being witnessed? When
yeah,
if there's someone else there around me where, yeah, like why does the presence of another feel like I have to modify
yeah.
myself?
And the root cause obviously leads to like not want to be judged as the bad one.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The disconnection happens.
Hmm.
Don't want to
Yeah.
experience
Or
more
like
separation.
it's like not okay for me to fully like feel quenched in what I'm desiring in the moment
Yeah,
because again, like the nunchi.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And me too. Like, if I talk about my like the Noonchi of being, oh, I should be more mindful in my current situation, what I can think of right now for me is I'm working and my sister just gave birth. So I'm helping her and her family. And I'm also working at the same time. So
Mhm,
like it's just been really busy where, oh, if I'm not working, then on my free time, I help my sister out
mhm,
for a bit. And I told her this month I'll like help her out. But again, like I get tired, but I feel bad. Like I feel like I have a hard time to be like, I think I need to go rest and I'm gonna go. take a nap. And I feel bad because I'm like, well, she must be really tired too.
Mm.
Like she just gave birth, there's a lot of stuff that she wants to take care
Mm.
of. But I'm also like, like, if I'm just like to myself, I give myself that all the time, right? But now that I agreed to help my sister out for a bit while, she kind of recovers. And so I made that commitment and I'm finding myself like to be like, oh wait, I think I need to like step away and like go take a nap or go rest a little bit before I can help out again. That Noonchi makes me feel like I shouldn't.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's
Ah.
another awareness. And the thing is, my sister's like, "Oh my God, aren't you tired? Like now you're doing this. You're playing with my nephew, and now you're cooking, and now you're helping me, and now like I don't see you rest." And she tells me like to rest, right? And
Mhm.
that's the thing. It's like she tells me to genuinely rest, but I'm like, no, 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 I'm okay. Yeah. And it's only when I'm like, you know what? I can't even say no. Okay, I'll go rest, but I don't feel comfortable resting.
Oh, wow.
So I'm in there trying to take a nap because I'm like tired, like, okay, this will be good to take like at least an hour nap before I bounce
Mhm.
back.
Mhm.
And I'm in there feeling guilty for taking that rest.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So because I'm not being mindful, I should be more mindful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Okay, so the crime of being an unmindful person, that's where the resistance
Yeah.
to really like give yourself what you want
Yeah.
no matter what anyone thinks.
Yeah. So basically, with us or with like, especially with Asian culture, Korean culture, is it's better to hurt yourself than to not be mindful.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's to the degree
Yeah.
where it's
Right.
worth it. It's worth it to sacrifice yourself and to
Oh,
be extra mindful and to be careful with your like mindfulness.
yeah.
Like make sure you perfect your mindfulness. There's like this expectation of
Oh,
you should perfectly like be that mindful person all the time.
yeah.
Yeah. Like
Until
perfect
you
it.
fucking explode.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like there is no gray area or this like
This is
that's okay. It's
and
either
it completely, you know what, it also like took out direct communication.
mm-hmm,
Koreans don't do direct communication.
yeah, yeah,
That's why you have to then, in order to get those needs met that you're repressing, it just all comes out as passive
yeah.
aggressive
And they just want you to be mind
behavior.
readers, right? Because they don't talk
Yeah.
about it. So if they don't talk about it, but they expect you to know exactly what they want and give it to them. Yeah. Like how can
I
you
see that
know?
shadow. I know
Yeah.
that I have that too sometimes where I'm like, oh my God, why can't you just know?
Oh,
Because I know because my nunchi is so sharp
yeah,
from
yeah,
like all the like self-policing I've done to myself. Like,
yeah,
why don't you just know?
yeah. I see. I know I worked through that too of like, oh shit, but not so not even not so much like I don't feel that or I haven't been feeling that lately.
Mhm,
Almost
mhm,
like, oh, it's not a norm in my life. But
mhm,
yeah, I can definitely understand like if I'm being more mindful than expecting someone else to be exactly the same as well too.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's so like prominent with Asians. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Mm. Okay,
So
so how do we do this?
um okay, so I guess the part one of us can take on the part that feels like has to be mindful. Like no matter
Okay.
what, no, I'm not gonna break that boundary of like I was taught, and
Yeah.
it's almost like a crime to break this like rule.
Hmm. Yeah. Can I do that part?
Oh yeah, and I
I
was
feel
feeling
really connected to
yeah,
that part.
yeah, and I was actually feeling that too. Like I think it would be good that
I'm
you
like,
put that on.
there's no
Yeah,
other way.
yeah, yeah,
What do you mean? No, I gotta keep the order
yeah.
on.
And I'll be the one that's like the opposite. Like, hey, like that's not okay. So the part that is opposite to that part.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
Okay. All right.
But
So,
you go in first and then I'll follow.
okay. Okay. So, okay, I, Kuan Yin, fully become the part of me that fully believes that Noonchi is the only way you can live.
Yes. And part of that Noonchi is, you want to say it so we all can have another reminder.
Oh, oh, part of that Noonchi?
When you said Noonchi, what do you mean by Noonchi?
Oh, okay. So by Noonchi, it means always having to be careful and mindful of what other people are needing and wanting around you,
Mhm.
and making sure you always are
Cater towards that.
behaving according to that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
And I, Sylvia, with my free will, take on the collective um, part that is the opposite to what Kuan Yin is going into of Noonchi. Oh, wait a minute. Like, I also want to say the collective part that is aware that, um, like, being mindful is positive, but also being mindful of your own desire is also important too.
Feel very tight.
Wait a minute. Kind of want to pause.
Hmm.
I Sylvia release myself on this part, become my neutral self. Part of the part that you took on is on a deeper layer, is the same energy as I'm not going to fully give myself what I want. I'm not going to
Mm.
allow myself to fully have what I want
And you
all
know
the
what?
time.
I don't even know what I want. I don't
Oh,
know what I want. I was telling me like all I'm thinking about is the external as
okay.
this part.
Okay.
How to like not let anyone be mad at me or think I don't have nunchi. It
Okay. So,
feels like
so you're the part that is not aware of manifesting what you want fully all the time is not okay,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And that's part of Noonchi.
Hmm.
Like you shouldn't give yourself everything you want all the time because
Yeah.
that's not having Noonchi, right?
Hmm.
So then now I feel like I know. So I'm gonna get into the part that's like um wanting and desiring to have what manifesting what I want all the time.
Hmm.
Like no resistance to manifesting what I want
Mm.
all the time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
okay with the feel good state all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I, Sylvia, with my free will, take on the part of Kuan Yin and myself and the collective of the part that has no problem and desiring to manifest what I want all the time and to be in the feel good state of manifesting what I want all the time. I feel like you have no idea, but you're the one that's really selfish, is how I see it. And I'm not saying this to make
What?
you upset, but I can see how you so don't see yourself in that you are also very selfish too,
How am I being selfish?
because you're so mindful of others and that is what you value so much that you don't know how to, or like you don't see the value of giving to yourself. And because that is so important to you, like you're not open to see it any other way. And that feels selfish because that's also not being mindful of yourself.
It feels so weird to hear because I feel like me accommodating, being mindful of others is being so giving to others. And people have a better life because of me.
I
I
mean,
help people feel, give them better lives. Because I'm so
I don't
good
think
at being
there's,
mindful.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with you doing that. It's just that it feels like, yeah, you're good at doing that, but you're not good at doing that for yourself.
I don't even know what doing that for myself. I have no concept for that because all of my awareness and energy is focused on what's outside of me.
Yeah,
So I have no concept for self. I don't have a self. I'm just
yeah,
realizing. Feels very foreign.
yeah. Like you live, it seems like you lived all your life serving others where
Yeah.
you don't even know who you are and what you
No,
like.
I don't.
And I feel like every time me being a part of you, where I am the self of you, like don't like it or trying to manifest something for me that I want, it's like you have no time for me. You seem like the busy parent that has no time for me with my desires and what I want and to help me with it because you're working so much helping others.
Mhm.
And everyone sees you as like such a good person. But to me, I just feel I, like I can't see you from that perspective. What is it like when I try to manifest something for me all the time and what feels good to me all the time?
That feels selfish and dangerous.
Why?
Because then what are other people going to do if you're not giving them something? Then it's like you're not.
Hmm.
I feel like the only way to have a connection with these people is if you give them something or help them feel better. But if you're just,
Does that make you happy?
uh,
Do then do you end up experiencing other people taking care of you exactly the way you do for them,
No,
then
I
why is
didn't
it
even
worth it to
I
you?
didn't even think about if this makes me happy or not. It's just there's no other way. Feels like
Oh, oh,
I don't really do
wait,
it for pleasure. It's just this is what I do. This is my role.
I like, I don't get it. What do you mean you don't feel?
It just feels so automatic. I didn't question
How you feel?
how I feel about it.
Do you want to try feeling about your action steps or the way you've
Yeah.
been living by this belief?
Yeah. That feels like something I have not done for myself.
You want to remember what it would feel like then? I see why now you weren't feeling, because if you did, you would be so miserable. You would feel miserable about yourself to a certain degree.
Oh my God.
Only saying
Okay,
that because I
well,
feel like that's how I would feel.
what was that?
I feel like I just said that because that's how I would feel, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you might feel different.
Um, I didn't even realize how tired I was. Um, I feel kind of sad.
Mm.
Like like my body was just being used as a tool
Oh,
all the time. Like it was like getting used.
felt that. Oh, that's really painful to recognize, isn't it? What does it feel to be used and to recognize that?
I keep seeing like a bottle opener, like that metal device where
Mm,
you open a bottle.
mm,
I'm just like another tool like that.
mm,
And I just have to be like so hard
mm,
and useful.
mm. Wow. So it makes me feel like you had no self this whole time. You just
Well,
surrendered to accepting to be everybody else's, but not yours.
yeah, I'm just myself is just a tool
Yeah.
that that needs to get used, that gets used,
Oh, wow.
that needs to be useful.
That makes me really sad to hear you say that. That's really sad. And how
It
it,
doesn't matter how I feel about it. Just
yeah,
is
that,
what I do. That's what I'm made for. I'm just this tool.
yeah. It gives me a really good understanding of you, of why you allowed yourself to live like that for so long. If I didn't have that understanding, I would have come to a conclusion where I'm like, what? How could you not know that? Like, what? Like, doesn't make sense. And like have this frustration for you for like, how could you not see this? But you're giving me such an eye-opening understanding about you where it makes me feel really sad for you.
Yeah.
Really sad for you. And I feel like I feel your pain of like, oh my God. Almost like to the point where, oh, was it better that she didn't know about it? Because when you didn't, I felt like you were in less pain. And it's almost like I feel a little bit guilty of like helping you dig to see this truth of you. And I don't know why I want to say I'm sorry. Now I feel like you're feeling a lot of pain because of this truth.
Yeah, I'm just realizing that it never mattered how I felt about it. And even know that my feelings, that it mattered, it just was so assumed, no matter how I felt about it. It's like nobody asked me how I felt until you did. And it's like you asking me made me realize I'm not just a tool. It didn't occur to me.
Where are you now, knowing that you are not, are you saying you're not wanting to be a tool?
Oh
Like,
no,
yeah.
I think right now I just feel really like sad and tired.
Oh, makes sense. Oh, makes sense. Is there anything you want to do?
It's just, I've never been acknowledged before.
Well, you have every right to rest peacefully and comfortably. Can I offer you like a pillow and blanket and somewhere soft to lay in?
That feels so generous. Like I didn't even know I was a human, the human who was worthy of being asked things. like asked things that of like the my inner world.
I feel like what you experienced was a crime. Like, how can society or people allow this to have like gone on for so long? Why wasn't it stopped? It kind of makes me, not kind of, it makes me angry.
I feel really old, like I'm a grandmother.
Oh,
Like this is how it's been, how we felt or not felt, like how we were not allowed to feel. There was no space to feel or have an opinion about this role that was put on us.
so are you saying like it was a positive experience to sacrifice yourself for everybody else to keep safety? Like, what was the reasoning? What was the value or the benefit in helping others the way you did?
Just kind of felt like it's kind of like being born into a job.
Oh,
And this was the only job for me. If I want to exist here in the world, this is my job.
I see.
And there's no other job. This is just the job I was born into.
Seems like they strictly embedded you or like really trained you to say this is what you're supposed to do no matter what. If someone tries to shake that out of you, don't even listen to it.
Mhm.
Because the people that are trying to shake you out of it by saying, no, it's okay, you can do what you want, is a lie. Like it seems like you're trained to believe if you heard that, that's not true. So don't focus on that.
Mhm. I just feel now like, what do I do? I Now that I know,
Okay. Would you
I
like
don't know where to go from
help?
here.
Can I help you walk through this?
Yes.
Okay. I remember you saying that you wanted to rest, right?
Mhm.
How would you like to experience that rest? I'm going to give you some options, and if you find like another desire that feels better to you, you let me know. I can give you a blanket and a pillow and a really nice bed to lay in or lay on. You can rest like in a field by like under a tree with the warm sun and a nice cushioned grass. Or would you like
Yeah, I want to rest outside in a
one
tree.
outside?
In the
Okay.
grass.
And I want you to give yourself that experience. And I want you to take as long as you need to rest. And when you're ready to share, you can tell me how that feels.
It's so strange to not be needed, to let myself know I'm not needed by anyone else and only needed by me. And then I realize it feels so foreign to just be here for me.
I know you're really good at providing everyone's needs and wants.
But to, yeah, be here for my need.
Yeah. Know more about your needs. I want to ask you a few questions just so that you can feel into like feeling if that's what you want or not. Okay. You said you're laying by the tree outside, right? You have a pillow. You have a blanket. And I'm wondering if it's daytime, nighttime, morning. What time of the day is it daytime? Would you like something to drink, eat?
I think what I'm realizing is there's something about now being here with myself, and it's like such a new thing to relate to my own inner self.
Mm.
And I can see how being habituated to everyone else like created this stranger in myself. And so it feels a little strange to meet my inner stranger. And I almost don't know what to do about it.
That makes sense because when you were living life catering towards what other people wanted and needed, that you made it look like there was no need in paying attention to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
because everyone was just receiving from you like you wanted to give.
Mm-hmm.
Like because of the way you gave in that matter, like when it happens like that, people just assume you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they get used to it because it's like, oh, I love receiving. And if this person doesn't mind giving and doesn't complain or doesn't whatnot, like, why would I say like no to that? It's almost like other people around you got so used to it that they even forget to ask you how you're feeling. Like it doesn't become the norm to ask you because they think, oh, she's fine. And if you were to ask these people, oh, like, like, do you know such and such that gives to you all the time? And they'd be like, yeah, she's a great person. She's so loving. She's so sweet. She always gives. And that's what they will all know about you. And basically is just a very giving person. And so these people know you only from that perspective. And if you live like this for a very long time, it makes sense that nobody knows you, and even you don't know you.
I don't know me.
You never had the opportunity to speak up and feel into what feels good to you and what doesn't. Your only empowerment came through serving others, which is kind of like you saw it as a positive thing, but it really isn't.
So I feel that this is the beginning to meet my inner stranger and find out who I am.
Mm-hmm. The way to know is experimenting with yourself. Do I want to rest here or there? Do I want a pillow? Yes or no? Do I want to eat? Let me feel into that. Yes. What would you like to eat? Oh, I feel like eating this. Okay. Is to feel into what feels good to you and to make a decision according to what feels good to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel complete.
Are you saying, wait, does this mean you're not wanting to go back to your old ways of living?
No.
Do you feel like it's going to be a bit of a challenge in this new lifestyle for you because it's so new?
I feel ready to know myself.
Just want you to know, like, if you run into any challenges when you give more and more to yourself, where it can feel a bit too much, and it may not, but as you experiment and you happen to find yourself in this discomforting situation, because giving to yourself is just not what you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
I want to help you through that of how would you want to resolve it if you happen to come into that situation.
I feel ready to meet it when it comes.
So, okay, so if you want to meet it when it comes, then I want you to know that, like, you can reach out. You can reach out
Yeah.
to me and we can resolve it together.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another question I wanted to ask you. Um, which was, again, but if I remember, I'll ask you later. So it seems like you have no resistance to changing your lifestyle from what you're used to and going for what you desire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to release myself. Mm.
Oh, I think I found it. It was you know how that part is now willing to give and manifest more for itself, right? But then I wanted that part to recognize like her mindful ways is not negative either. It was just misused. And to really be in alignment with the truth of being mindful, where the way she utilized mindfulness was not healthy.
Yeah.
Didn't benefit herself at all. But mindfulness is good. It's not a bad thing. And I don't want her to think like, okay, drop the mindfulness. I'm not going to live that life anymore. But it's about being mindful.
Yeah, I think she knows that
including that.
She needed to just understand it's like she already has plenty of too much mindfulness.
Oh, okay. So that's
like, yeah. And it was like imbalanced.
Okay.
There's like no awareness of her self in it.
Okay, so that's good. So she's aware that like mindfulness is good and knowing how to utilize mindfulness for others and herself at the same time. Perfect. And just for other people, if they're having a hard time understanding this, what would be the healthy mindfulness for self and others in this case? So, so if we go back to that fruit platter example, if that part is desiring to eat it and says, like, oh, like these are all of my favorite foods, and I'm noticing that no one wants to eat it. If no one's gonna eat it, like, is it okay if I like just eat the whole thing? And everyone says yes. Then allowing that part to eat it with joy, manifest it. And if she senses someone being triggered, know that it's not on her. She's not the one that's being disrespectful. She did ask, everyone okayed it, and knowing that she was being honest the whole time. And if someone said yes and then recognize like, oh, that person's upset now or whatever, then finding out, oh, that person wasn't being honest. Yeah. But it's not that she's being bad. Like it's not her responsibility to take that on as if she did something wrong. And that would be the new way of moving forward for an energy like that. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, so trippy in this part. I was really feeling my like maternal grandmother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like I was like updating her with my awareness here. And just whole like ancestral healing just happened.
So that means as a collective, like even kind of working through the ancestral awareness.
This is absolutely ancestral patterns, This
Totally.
This didn't come from nowhere.
Exactly.
But yeah, she was like kind of like shape shifting in front of the tree. Like I was her, and then it was my mom and me, and we're just kind of like all getting updated.
Yeah. And how, with someone who's watching this, if you see this as a part of you, it's the same thing as you yourself while watching this had your own aha and healing. Yeah. This is really cool.
Wow. Cool. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Silvia.
Yeah. So I guess that's the solution of allowing yourself to manifest more for yourself. And it's okay. It's not selfish. It's not something you should feel guilty for.
Or more like reclaim selfishness.
Yeah. and recorrecting, like, oh
Mhm.
no, I'm not gonna buy into something that's false, of like, you're making me feel guilty about something that I didn't do anything wrong in. Yeah.
Mhm.
And like catching yourself being, no, I was being mindful. I did ask. Everyone said okay, and I ate it. And yeah,
Mhm.
so,
Mhm.
and then that's also in alignment to claiming your own empowerment.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. I feel like that also helped me out too, in terms of, okay, am I going to buy into my old ancestral ways, or with this awareness, am I now wanting to shift it? And even for me through this, it's like, oh yes now, because I got more of an understanding of what this does. So this was pretty
Mhm.
powerful today.
Mhm. Wow.
Cool. Is there anything you want to share or say?
No, I feel complete. Mhm.
Okay, sounds good. Then
Okay.
until next time.
All right.
Bye.